Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Divorce Coach Diaries. So, today I want to talk about buffering. I want to talk about what that even is, if you've never heard that term, why we do it, how to stop doing it, and what to do instead. If you haven't heard of the word buffer, here's what I mean. A buffer is what we do to avoid feeling something we don't want to feel. Some really common buffers are alcohol, overeating, scrolling social media, pornography. Do you want to know what my very favorite buffer is? My favorite way to buffer is to online browse and shop. And sometimes that turns to buying, but sometimes it's just me putting stuff that I like in my online cart, wasting a bunch of time, and then moving on. Sometimes you might overspend money, and sometimes you're just wasting time. Okay, so those are what buffers are. A lot of times we are doing those things, engaging in that behavior because we are trying to avoid something. Not always. Sometimes, in the example of online shopping, I'm actually doing it intentionally. I'm looking for something, I'm shopping for my kids. There is a purpose behind it, but not always. I have a couple of places that I love to online browse. Anthropologie is right at the top of the list, along with my very favorite store, Evereve. Okay? A lot of times, if I'm bored, if I'm avoiding doing something that I know needs to do, but it's hard and I don't want to do it, I will get on my computer, open up a new tab, and start filling my cart with random crap that I don't need and most of which I'm not going to buy. But that is a buffer. So it's the things that we do sometimes subconsciously. You might, when you're feeling pretty crappy, open up the pantry or open up the freezer and find a delicious treat that you don't really need. You're not even hungry. And before you know it, you've eaten a ton and you didn't even mean to and weren't really even enjoying it. So, our buffering puts off, puts aside whatever type of emotional suffering and pain that we're trying to avoid. Sometimes our buffers are really obvious, like the ones that we just talked about, but sometimes they're sneakier. Sometimes it's overworking or over cleaning or being too busy or perfectionism or even over exercising, which, is kind of related to perfectionism, but sometimes they're sneakier. They're not actually bad things, but when we use them to avoid what is real, that's when they become buffers. They create a temporary sense of relief. They put off whatever it is that we're not wanting to deal with. But when the distraction wears off, that thing is still there. So, why do we buffer? We are wired at our most basic human form. Our brains have three main objectives. It's called the motivational triad. If you haven't heard of that before, let me very quickly explain it to you. Our brains want to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy. Buffering is our brain's way of saying, let's not feel this hard thing right now. Let's put it off. And a lot of us growing up, we're not taught to process emotions. We don't know how to feel bad. We don't know how to feel discomfort. It's so uncomfortable. So we buffer instead. Often we buffer to avoid feelings associated with stress and overwhelm, loneliness, boredom, fear of failure, fear of rejection, shame, self-doubt. So buffering actually is effective in the moment. It does its job. It distracts us from whatever it is we don't want to feel. The problem is, though, it doesn't actually serve us. It creates longer term consequences that are so much more challenging to deal with than our original thing. So, how do we stop buffering? Just like almost everything else, the first step is awareness. Notice when you are reaching for that buffer. Pause and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now that I don't want to feel? Or what am I trying to avoid? And name that feeling. Next, we want to allow the emotion. Feelings are not dangerous. They're simply vibrations in the body. They rise, they peak, they pass. Letting yourself feel them is so much easier than resisting. So name the feeling and let it be there, and it will pass. Our last step for how to stop buffering is to be compassionate with yourself. Love yourself through whatever that hard thing is, and don't judge or shame yourself. Be curious about it instead of judgmental. Why am I buffering? Why am I choosing this buffer? Why is this so attractive to me? And why does it feel so much better to do this than to actually feel what I need to feel to move through this? So just start to be aware. What do you do instead? Like we just talked about, you learn how to sit with the discomfort, the pain, whatever it is that we are trying to avoid. So, my friends, buffers are such a normal part of being a human. We learn this so young. If you have kids, you know this. Maybe one of their most uncomfortable feelings is boredom. And what do they want to do almost immediately when they're bored? If they're like my kids, they want a screen. They want to watch TV, they want their phone, they want their iPad, they want something because feeling bored is so uncomfortable for kids and for adults. So notice it. Don't get mad at your kids for wanting that buffer. Just notice when it's coming up for all of us in different ways. Everybody does it. This work that we're doing here is not about judgment. It's not about shame. It's not about criticism. It's simply about becoming aware and choosing something different on purpose. So reassure yourself. You are stronger than you think. You can handle this negative emotion. This week, I want you to notice one buffering habit that comes up for you and start to become more aware of it. And is there something that you want to change about it? And if there is, book a free call with me and let's get to work. I can help you. Go to my website, megthedivorcecoach.com/free coaching, and let's get to work. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.